Life is a dance. Everyone needs to feel comfortable in joining. When I was a boy, all I wanted to do was dance, and I had no fear in doing so. I'd dance in the morning, I'd dance at night, I'd dance inside, I'd dance outside. It didn't matter, and it's all I cared to do. Then I grew up, which doesn't always mean growth, and I started to take notice of all the other people on the dance floor. Tall, short, skinny, fat. It didn't matter. None of them really were, but they all felt more beautiful to me than I did to myself. And so I took my leave. I went to the corner and started watching everybody else have a good time. I started feeling undeserving. I started feeling foolish. More and more so the longer I sat there and watched. The real fools of this world, however, aren't the ones who continue to dance. They are the ones who forget how to. And for me, knowing this isn't as deep as it is debilitating. Shooting stars are exactly as you are. Behind every person's soul, a universe quietly resides. And I still find it strange that despite that cosmic brilliance, we circle back to fixate on surface-level, fleeting things. Things that could never touch the depth of our own true radiance. We never notice our own beauty. Isn't that beautiful? The boy with the cardboard heart. When you have nobody, you have somebody, and that somebody is yourself, because you're all you've got, so why need anybody? Anybody being nobody, nobody being somebody, somebody being anybody. Somebody, 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 nobody, 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 anybody, anybody, anybody. Does anybody understand why the fuck I feel like a nobody, even though deep down I know I'm somebody, or maybe I'm nobody, or maybe I'm everybody all at once. I'd have to be everybody since I feel everything. Everything is nothing, nothing is everything all at once. Everything, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing. I'm an everybody that feels like a nobody that misses a somebody, and that somebody is a nobody, and that nobody is myself. I miss myself, I miss myself, I miss myself. Who am I? Can anybody answer the damn question? No, I have to figure it out for myself. By myself, by myself, by myself. Myself being me being selfish, selfish for expecting an answer, selfish for asking the question. Questioning questions, answering answers. Answer me this. What became of the boy with the cardboard heart? Simple. He folded in on himself when he realized that having somebody meant he'd be nobody because that somebody made him feel warm. Warm being hot, hot being cold, cold being the boy, hot melting, cold heartbreak, broken heart, caught on fire, death, death, death. Nothing, everything, everything, nothing, all at once. Tightrope walking. It's all a balancing act. Fickle thorns. A rosebush possesses the same amount of beauty as a rose. The thorns complement its shape and give it character. 3 copper coins and the kite caught in the telegraph wire. The man was handsome, intelligent, and good in bed, but he just had nothing to say, and all of his days were the same. Monochromatic introspection followed by a sort of smothered self-expression. He never felt like himself. And he always felt worried about what other people thought about him. Who even was he? His routine? His career? His interests? His beliefs? Beliefs? The man had no beliefs. The man didn't need to believe. For if he started believing in something, he may have actually needed to start existing. And that idea scared the hell out of him. All of the little things our little brains remember for a short little while. Isn't it odd, all of the little things that remain in our little brains? One day you'll be walking down the street, just minding your own business, when suddenly you'll stop. A sight, a sound, a scent, a memory, something you have never seen, heard, smelt, or even experienced before will catch your incomplete attention so completely and send you to the most magical of places. Something from your childhood, something from the small town you drove through last autumn, something from that department store shelf at that street corner you never thought you'd actually go to. But then you did. Something from a bad day, something from a good one. All of that energy, all of that time, and still, I can't put a name to what that feeling is. Nostalgia? No, it goes deeper than that. Much, much deeper. After a bit, you'll wonder a while, and then you'll simply move on. Maybe all it is was grief expressed purely, because living in a world where things are so temporary is a bittersweet thing. Better times, worse times, doesn't matter. It all sticks around. Your smile is as cute as a baby seal's. Your smile's frozen over, and you stand above the water like an iceberg, so tall and elegant in your presentation. But surface-level trickery can't fool or satiate my scuba diver curiosity. I see through your poorly constructed ruse. I prep my gear, dive deep into your ocean, and discover that underneath the surface-level beauty lies dormant a bummock of cuts and bruises. The true nature of things. The true nature of you. A life packed full of solutionless problems scribbled out like math equations written on a chalkboard by a genius mathematician who can't ever prove his theories or get anything to work. Nobody understands him because he can't even understand the things going on in his own head. Now, enough of the comparisons. Let's get back to the subject. You're chronically ill, your condition is worsening. You present yourself in a positive light while, under the surface, you're withering. I worry for the day when all of your problems become too much for you to bear, and you slip away like an avalanche in the Arctic, never to be seen again. Brother, you have the strength of a dragon and the soul of a poet. I'm running a goddamned universe. Cut me some slack. I can't imagine how painful it is to be God. Trying your hardest to make a beautiful painting only to have the characters you created complain and mock the world around them. Why does God let bad things happen to good people? Pretty sure you'd walk away from the canvas too if it spat back and criticized you. But perhaps, in his silence, he waits, hoping we'll learn to appreciate the masterpiece. And after he suspects we've endured enough punishment, he'll return to add an additional layer of paint. We call these added colors miracles, and they renew our dwindling faith. God has a crooked smile. I saw God near a pawn shop today. He had a crack pipe and a crooked smile. When he asked me for a quarter, I gave it to him, and that's when he told me of his omnipotence. What a neat guy. Art is death. A 9-to-5 bartending job, the life, death, and fate of an artist, forced to sweep cracked tile and vacuum puke-stained floors until enough people notice him. False faith, or shall I say hope, keeps him writing, painting, singing, drawing, drinking and sinking in his own misery, dragged down to the bottom of his own internal ocean by an anchor called creativity. He can't stand fantastical make-believe things, and good God, he can't stand the smell of cheap women and cigarette smoke. It assaults his sinuses in the same way the men they're drinking to forget about did to them. And then he wonders what's going to kill him first, the depression or the cancer from all the secondhand smoke he's inhaling. 3 months later, he quits his job, writes himself into a story, takes 12 tabs of acid, and plays pretend for the very last time. Because that's the only thing he's ever been any good at doing. Well, that and pathological lying. That's all art really is, isn't it? And that's all there will ever be to say about that. Wolf Girl. Sunflower eyes, honeycomb gaze, symmetrical features, beautiful face. I want to get closer, to erase the space that exists between your surface-level sex appeal and celestial grace. Meet a stranger. We're all strangers waiting to be read by someone who cares enough to flip through our weather-worn pages. Novels, journal entries, grocery lists, daily routines. Constantly dismissed by others more caring of the cover than the contents. Do something daring. Pick up a book you've never read before and ignore the cover. Make a new friend and be their next chapter, unfolding pages of laughter and tears, and sharing moments both mundane and profound for years and years and years. Hopefully, you will be with them until the end of their fairy tale, adding your own verse to an already beautifully written narrative. We are all strangers. We inhabit the skin of strangers we really know nothing about, relying on unchosen impulse to figure out what this life is really all about. Do I like this or don't I? Who is to say? When we are constantly changing and inconsistently collapsing within the foreign walls of our own self-constructed temples, we are all strangers to ourselves. I find that a little bit off-putting and oddly comforting, all at the same time. Rhetorical somethings and nothings. Somewhere, there's a sunflower poking out from the corner of a concrete barrier, going unnoticed by everyone except myself. And it makes me wonder. They say when you fall in love with an artist, you can never die. But what happens when an artist falls in love? Do they continue capturing futures or only retrospective moments? Time is an old concept, or shall I say odd, because I see you in soft shadows and storefront glass, in wilted flowers I forget to water, in poems that end. I used to paint what might be, but now I only trace the edges of what has been. They said that love would make my work eternal, but no one told me it would make me feel so unfinished. Oh, and that thing I asked about the artist? You can forget about it. I think I'm starting to care less and less about him. Pick up your sword. It's your choice to keep going. It's your choice to heal. It's your choice to reflect. It's your choice to look at that broken reflection and to see a warrior. It's your choice to quit. It's your choice to stay broken. It's your choice to reflect. It's your choice to look at that broken reflection and to see a failure. Which choice will you choose? For it will surely determine whether or not you win or you lose. 6 dead, 4 wounded, and 1 on the way. Leukemia boys and leukemia girls waving hospital volunteers as the angels wave them away. What is love beyond an overpriced ambulance ride and an unnecessary hospital stay? The most beautiful things, summer sweat and roam after rain. Inside, a child draws a yellow sun with trembling fingers, the ivy taped down like it's trying to hold him there. Forced positivity, a heart full of apathy. I see that same world you try to see with substance sober, and I'll be the first to tell you, it isn't a blessing. God has a hand grenade smile, and it's hard to find the grace in that. There's 6 dead, 4 wounded, and 1 on the way. What an unimpressive collection. Ha ha! I'm manic. All that remains of our love is a faded Polaroid, a carton of cigarettes, and 2 cases of beer. I'll forget you soon, but for now, I'm cracking open another one. Let's hope these memories blur. As I slam arthritic hands into a broken keyboard, nobody can hear me screaming. In a rather egotistical and pathetic attempt to immortalize myself in something, I lost everything. And now that I've burned all of my bridges and I'm drowning, the only thing I have left to do is work. And it's not working. And the only ones praising my work are little kids the same age I was when I broke everything. Lucky me. I watched them do the same foolish things, reaching for pointless dreams, immortalizing themselves for no one and nothing. What I wouldn't do to have something, and what I wouldn't give for something worth saying. Empty words look prettier when they're written in blood. And trust me, it's dripping straight out of my pen tip and into my lungs. I wish that instead of pneumonia, I had amnesia. Maybe then I could forget about all of this. Enough said. 1 millisecond spent looking into the eyes of someone who loves you unconditionally is worth more than 1,000 lifetimes spent with no love at all. March comes in like a lion. Dandelion dance in the palm of my hand, a gentle bloom. I love my birthday flower. For Felix. I went to drink coffee at one of those cute little coffee drinking places, and I couldn't help but think of you. I tried not to, but then the waiter, barista, whatever you call them, had to come and give me my drink. It had a flower in it, a tulip, made out of whipped cream with brown sugar sprinkled at the top. I remember now.
The last thing we had talked about was your job. You had just quit doing drugs, and you had just started working at a coffee shop. Hell, you even managed to clean out that pigsty of yours that you called a bedroom. Then you died. Just like that. You died right as you were gathering your thoughts and getting your life together. How tragic. I hope I don't die in the middle of my own muck like you did. So long. But for now, I've got an empty coffee cup and a deep, longing desire to hear from you again. By the way, the wedding plans fell through, and I found somebody new. They aren't with me anymore either. So much for that idea. Just thought of a funny joke. You went from being a best man to a dead man. Nobody but the gravestones get to laugh in the end. Teardrops and coffee stains. At the bottom of every corner store and coffee shop mug, there is a collection of teardrops and coffee stains, waiting to be gathered so they can write their stories in indelible ink. Christmas in July. I'm sorry I didn't bring roses to your funeral. I brought a Christmas wreath instead. I didn't want to symbolize your withering. I wanted to represent your eternity and the joy you brought others instead. Our scars don't determine who we are. Our character is defined by the quality in which we stitch them. The girl lost to time. She was like a bull in the sunshine, angry one moment, then happy the next. That's what Olivia was, the way she was with everyone. A short series of well-regulated emotional stability followed by a long series of emotional outbursts. She was loved, and she was hated. She was kind, then she was cruel. But most of all, she was confused. Confused about why people left her, confused about why she couldn't stay happy or calm or placated. Olivia was like a bull in the sunshine. She wanted to love, but she just couldn't bring herself to give it to everyone. You aren't a burden. You are a blessing. Some infinities are bigger than other infinities, and some infinities hardly last at all. I know I'm late, so here's a picnic basket to make up for it. There is something so sad about fireworks. They're so flashy, pretty, and exciting. But as they fade, it makes you feel sort of lonely. After all, they're nothing more than a semi-permanent spark intended to entertain for a semi-permanent moment. The people that come into our lives are a lot like the fireworks. Flashy, pretty, exciting. Then we blink and they fade. There is something so sad about fireworks. And there is something so lonely about being forced to participate in an event that you know isn't going to last forever. Bittersweet flash, bittersweet fade, bittersweet everything. Impermanence. Among the sky, among the earth, among the sand, among the dirt, among the sleet, among the snow, rests impermanence, our only home. A girl named Summer. Your hands are as cold as winter, your smile as welcoming as spring. Summer, I may be falling for you. Our love withered away like the white roses I gave to you on your birthday.
My poem to you. To see such love to grow in a dark and dreary heart, and all the pain and sorrow the world may feel, how could someone be so bright? How could someone be such a light in my life? To help me forward, to finally see my love forever till the end, it's you and me.
You look like an angel.
You look like an angel.
You got a halo and everything.
Oh.
I lost my body. If I could go back in time, I'd go back to when I believed in soulmates, the way I believed the stars in the night sky guide us to a predetermined destiny. Poorly illuminated by the moon, leaving you to seek yourself intentionally. Well, I've learned you can throw away fate when you make an extremist choice deviating against that destiny. Then, turning upstream like salmon in the springtime, we kill ourselves only to respawn and reinvent new regret, in search of things we think we need but already possess. Now, I don't mean to come off as nihilistic or depressed, but I'm slowly starting to stop believing in prepackaged outcomes and have come to the conclusion that only children believe in soulmates. At least, I did when I was a kid. Now I know for certain, love only exists when it's convenient, and the stars, more often than not, pick favorites. Love songs don't sound as good as they used to. Have you heard the one about the birds and the bees? I never much liked it myself because it soured the taste of our innocence. Or maybe our innocence soured the taste of us. So much for happy endings and so much for love. So much for innocence and so much for us. You're an old slow dance, you're an old song. And if I'm being honest, I still think back to that time I slow danced with your decaying love in my palms. And it still makes me smile. Vulnerability comes in the form of a hospital gown. The security guard at the hospital admired my taste in clothing. I'm certain they reminded him of himself when he was younger. Now, he was an old man with a wife and children. I never got around to telling him, but I wished we could have switched lives. He could keep my clothes and I could experience what it felt like to be part of a family. Warmth, love, connection. All of the things I've never experienced or belonged to. War cry of the monarch butterflies. Skin, bone, body, blood. Rain falls at different hours and gardens grow the same. Bright and strong in summer, in winter no remains. What survives is not the body, but the knowing of the way. A pole beneath the silence, a rise above the pain. You can take away my garden, and give me only rain. I will learn to dance regardless. I will learn to dance all the same. A pair of glasses, a swan, and an origami clock. Nature is calling, your hips swaying. A light snowfall takes place in a winter breeze. The footprints of a doe and her fawn grace the land in fragments. Broken bits of grass poke out from where they were last seen, in brown, sticky patches. A moose, a rabbit, a raccoon, resting, rejuvenating, saving their strength. Birds chirp, wolves howl. I close my eyes and know I've made it. Did you make it to Italy, Sparrow? For I am yet to make it there. I wish you well. An Old English proverb. Enough is as good as a feast. An old Italian proverb. If you can't live longer, live deeper. The world's most destructive chemical experiment. The feel of a touch, the sound of a cry, the joy of hello, the sorrow of goodbye. We entangle, we combine, we fall apart, but in the end we get up and we try to form a connection that doesn't end in absence. It all ends for those already absent. Be present, if not for others, then for yourself. Rebirth. A phoenix must burn before it can rise from the ashes. Ashes, that's what the past is. Ashes, caused by your wrath and your lack of compassionate actions. Actions have consequences, and those consequences will repeat until you've learned your lesson. Lesson, your heart is like the roots of an aspen, enduring, growing through flames and desolation. So let the fire cleanse, not destroy, and be born again. Taking accountability. I'm starting to see my oceans were lakes, and on behalf of the Japanese government, I'd like to formally apologize for all the tsunamis I created with my tectonic level worrying. You are whatever you say you are. A painter without paint is still a painter. A poet without a pen is still a poet, and a child without love is still precious. Never forget, you are whatever your heart allows you to be. Don't set any limits, and understand that no matter what, you are worthy, deserving, and capable of love. Is the Mad Hatter really all that mad? Falling, falling, falling. A slow descent into madness. Falling, falling, falling. Call in the crows to peck out my eyes and devour me. Falling, falling, falling. Swiftly, the only way there has ever been to fall. The truth we need to be reminded of again and again and again. Everything you will ever need is already living inside of you at this very moment, and the only way you are ever going to find it is by sitting alone in a room and looking within yourself. Any other way is a distraction. Nothing more, nothing less. The parable of the fallen tree. Right now, I'm standing on the shoreline watching a hollow log fight against the undercurrent of a rushing river, and I can't help but admire how strong he is for fighting a battle he knows he's going to lose. Then again, blind courage can often lead us down paths we never previously thought possible for ourselves. As I think that thought, the log sinks, and I continue on my walk. A few minutes later, I spot the log again and wave him on in encouragement. If we can hold on to our values and our courage, we can always rise again. Every time. And until then, I guess I'll just keep walking. Burnt out bulbs. You never saw past the glory days of 17 because you got sad and thought it a better idea to hang yourself from the ceiling fan instead of replacing its burnt out bulbs. Bright idea. Dimming the light of all the candles whose hearts and souls were trying to add light to your dark and dismal life. You were selfish to drop out. You were selfish to quit. And now that you're gone, I can't help but look up at the light shining down on me from your ceiling fan. I changed the bulbs, so why is everything still so dark? And how do I go about life when my only friend snuffed out my candlelight spark? Could you come back home, please? I can't do this without you, and I might go insane if I have to sit and stare between the cracks in your ceiling blades any longer. Maybe I'll snap them off, cut my wrists, and join you. Wait, even though I'm depressed, I know there are people in my life that still need me. That's something I could never get through your thick fucking skull. Selfish. Burn brighter. You can never burn too brightly for this world. Not ever. I miss the crabapple orchard and pretending to be a knight. Life has an odd habit of making you miss old street curbs and stop signs. The street I miss the most, though, has to be the cross street between the crabapple orchard and my friend Jackson's house. Something about that place felt infinite, and something about sometimes friends feels greater than sometimes. Would I go back? Absolutely not. Because it was by my old elementary school, and going there would only remind me of all the times being a kid was enough. I think it stopped being enough when I got to the ending of Stand By Me and I realized that River Phoenix was dead. Or maybe it ended when my brother got a girlfriend and I developed a bad habit of sleeping in to ignore the fact that I was undesirable and that my brother didn't want to play games or talk to me anymore. I miss my brother. I miss Jackson. And I miss that green park that was right behind his house. And I especially miss that old crabapple orchard, where I wasted whole afternoons reading up on the adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. Tell me, are there any street curbs you miss? The space between goodbye. Childhood abandonment makes you miss everyone you've met and all of the people you're yet to meet. It makes you hug differently and love more passionately. But on the flip side, it makes you hyper-independent. And it makes you push people away when they get closest to you. I tell you goodbye, but I can never bring myself to do it. Nobody important to me has ever said it. Not a single one. And so, I linger, in the spaces between holding on and letting go, waiting for someone to prove they won't leave. Though deep down, I already know. You're already gone. And you haven't been listening. The moonlit horseman. Riding through town in the early morning hour, I followed a girl with long silver hair for a short little while, before I stopped to ask myself if I could remember what freedom was. Was it her laugh or her smile, her warmth or her denial? Nay, it was neither. It was the way I used to lay under the stars when I was a boy, with my head tilted back in the wildflowers. I'd sleep for days and dream for hours, idealizing my ideals, unbothered. The first bricks are laid, and the mortuary bells are ringing. Echo, echo, echo. And death calls for me like a woman in her nightgown on a runaway shore. I cannot wake. Snoring, snoring, snoring. I cannot wake till morning. Towards death's grace, I wander on. Towards death's grace, I wander on. Towards death's grace, I reach the edge of where she stands. I reach out my hands and fall into the water, floating on, towards another chapter, wondering if this one ever meant a thing, and if instead of cruel, death is rather misunderstood. The loony at the wishing well. I spend most of my days at the wishing well, tossing in loose coins and spare change. One wish for them, one wish for me. One wish for them, one wish for me. Only thing I ever ask God or the universe for myself is to keep the cash flow coming in. Only thing I ever ask God or the universe for everybody else is world peace and maybe just a little bit more music. Global population, 8 billion. Good thing about that is I won't ever run out of wishes. Don't be shy. Grab a friend's hand and let's dance around the world. I've had enough of this war shit. A blender nearly chopped off all of my fingers. I cut my finger to the bone and cauterized the wound with melted chocolate. I rather enjoy the taste of pain. Blue is the warmest color. We met in a coffee shop off 5th Avenue in Jersey. You were so magnetic. Your eyes shone so brightly. A couple of years went by and our paths crossed once more through the entanglement of interwoven destiny. We both ended up in that coffee shop again, and I have to ask, did the blue in your hair fade naturally, or did you lose your sense of self-expression? Your aura felt hollow. Your eyes weren't dancing when I looked at them. Some say blue is the warmest color. Darling, blue doesn't suit you at all. And neither does blonde. Bipolar 2. I'm secretly a genius. Trouble is, I'm the only one who knows about it. I'm much too shy to show it, and I'm much too mad to keep it constant. I'm either busy laying in my bed missing out, or overworking myself to the point of exhaustion. There's no in between. And that, my friends, is brilliant. Give up and grow. Part of learning is dying, giving up on old ideas and giving in to the new. If you don't let go, you'll never learn a damn thing. One day after my suicide. The day after my suicide, I fell in love with the woman whose photograph I keep on my nightstand. The day after my suicide, I forgave my father for everything he was and everything he failed to be. The day after my suicide, I saw my mother, beyond her addictions, and for the broken little girl I was always too angry to picture her of being. The day after my suicide, I saw my dog, and I appreciated the way she ran through the yard so freely. The day after my suicide, I saw my brother, and we were throwing rocks down by the creek. The day after my suicide, I saw my sister, and she was teaching me how to fix the chain on my bicycle. The day after my suicide, I pictured Van Gogh, laying in that field of sunflowers with his guts spilling out, and I wondered if in that moment he viewed himself as artistic or driven. The day after my suicide, I realized that none of that really mattered, because the day after my suicide, I saw myself for the very first time, and I loved myself unconditionally, and I wished, oh how I wished, that I could have waited just one more day. T, I thought of you today, when I went looking for books to buy. It sort of threw me off, and I wondered why. After all, nearly 15 years have gone by, and then it hit me like a mistimed epiphany. Nobody else but you loved books as much as I did. I still do. Only now the stories are stuck in my head, and I'm not able to tell you about them in conversations. When I go on long walks by the ocean, I whisper them into the wind sometimes. Tell me, do my words reach you? Regret cannot exist where there is gratitude.
can't play the piano.
Advice for the next time you are feeling lost. If you're feeling lost, please remember, we admire and treasure something as beautiful and distant as the stars in the night sky. So, the next time you find yourself lost in a crowd, who is to say someone isn't admiring something as beautiful and distant as you? Just a thought. You are a treasure. The fame and the girl and the money. The music is playing loudly, and I am inebriated carelessly, pushing my way through a crowd of men who for right now are too distracted to judge themselves inwardly. I trip on one of their shoes and am blinded momentarily by one of the show lights. I raise my hand to shield my eyes and see the silhouette of one of the dancing girls through the open slits of my fingers. And I reach out to what? Touch it? Ground myself to it? She's like a painting, the way she's standing. Or a broken ballerina. That's right, she's a broken ballerina, and me? I'm what? Spinning round and round. Can you even classify these carnal temptations as sin? Or am I justified in what I'm doing because someone's providing a service? Who would even ask for a service like this? Surely not a righteous man. Surely not a man who claims to be righteous. I think back to when I was 10, the age I was when I saw my first play, and I remember the tears, and I remember another time, another place, another silhouette of another girl dancing, round and round. She was so beautiful, because we were both innocent, and her actions had meaning behind them. Another one of the stripper girls comes up and grabs my shoulders, asks me if I want a lap dance. No, I just want to go home, I tell her. But the lights are gone, the music is gone, the crowd is gone, and I'm left spinning, round and around. The joy of letting go. I used to be a guy who was experiencing the world, and now I feel like the world and the universe experiencing a guy. One of many. My father was not like other men. He liked to go on long walks by the riverbed. My father was different in the way he always remembered to smell the flowers. My father was not like other men. He'd put pennies on strangers' windowsills and sit silently in cafe corners for hours. My father was different in the way he was patient. My father was not like other men. Women would notice, and he'd pay no mind. My father was different in the way he was kind. My father was not like other men. He'd read me the paper, but only the punchlines. My father was different in the way he had no comedic time. My father was not like other men. He'd say what he thought and felt free to express. My father was different in the way he was always himself. My father was not like other men. He'd always pause movies because he knew he would cry at the end. He did every time. My father was different in the way he was tender. Such is the standard I hold other men. Such is the way all men should be. Tender and tough, all the same. Convivial fluff. You've got your skin, you've got your clothes. You've got your house, you've got your bones. Not enough, yet too much. Cast aloft, collecting dust. Precious or priceless? Guess not. Supply and the damned. Ears to transistors, sails face windward, the voyage begins. Eyes to television, the cannons revealed, a naval battle is about to unfurl. Fingers to braille, the sky is alight. Two captains board each other's ships. Whose crew do you think will win the fight? To the victor goes the spoils. At least, that's what they say. History is to truth as men are to their distractions. Spotty and unclear in most places. Us sitting idly by, entertained by nothing, and rotting in lies labeled as entertainment. Doesn't the lie come in such pretty colors? All that remains of our skeletons is the light that resides within us. Soldier, age 23, interest in veterinary science, shot, back of the head. Political affiliation never mattered. Lies still in an open casket draped over with an American flag. How patriotic, how patronizing. Lover left of mother, right of father, me, observer bearing flowers. priest front and center, babbling on, reading the same old retired lines. Dust to dust, ash to ash, and the like. Bagpipes play, 21-gun salute rings out, echoing in the hollow hearts of family members. I dropped the newspaper containing the boy's obituary. Can't remember why I came. Wanted to pay respects. The best thing a brother can do is leave roses. Wilting like the paper beneath my feet. Crumbling like his mother, on her knees now, crying. I begin to cry too. Not for the boy, more for the people who knew him. Good man, too young, wanted to help animals. Animals are probably locked in a cage somewhere, yowling the same way the ravens perched and pecking at the ground are. They are hungry for flesh, the same way the dirt is, the same way old men who start wars are. Nobody needs to die. Foolish, worthless, unnecessary. The reward for a life well lived seems to be a gravestone with your name written on it in a margin far too small to capture the complexity of what you stood and now lie for. What will they do when there's nobody left to kill? Weep? As if they could. The next time God floods the world, it will be with the tears of the lonely, and the vermin who made them feel that way in the first place will drown. Angel flies overhead, wearing uniform. Hope lives on even when the goodness cannot. Hope lives on even when the goodness cannot. Believe that, please? I know I will. At least I will, after I've finished crying.